How is everybody doing today? Welcome back to another episode of Boys in the Zone. Huge week for the Cowboys, 38-3 over the New England Patriots. And with that being said, I got another fan forum episode 3 right here with two people that wanted to get on. Ariana up there at the top and Brendan at the bottom. If there was any confusion over those two, obviously a girl's name and a boy's name, but besides the point, how are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I can't wait to talk about last game and this upcoming game. I think it's going to be absolutely important for us
Yeah.
and for the team. So, yeah, super excited to be here, guys.
I'm doing great. Always love talking ball. So I'm getting ready I'm already ready for Sunday night.
For sure. And guys, just shout out yourselves on social media, where people can find you guys, and if you guys have any content or whatever, also share that stuff as well.
Yeah, so on my end, I only have my Twitter talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I usually just talk about them during the regular season. During off season, I don't talk about that much. But it's at Ari underscore Napan. So you can follow me on Twitter.
Cool. And Brendan?
I do Twitter and I'm a part of another podcast group. So of course I'm talking Cowboys 24/7 and now the Rangers, but you can find me at Brendan underscore Smith 26, and you can also find me at Across the Cowboys podcast.
Exactly. And earlier when we were just in the Zoom chat, I guess we found out that Ariana is from a different country. So you know that Cowboys Nation goes far and deep. It's not just the U.S. That's why they call it America's team, but honestly, it's the national team. So with that being said, like I mentioned earlier, 38-3 victory for the Dallas Cowboys. Huge win. So is the week 3 loss or the week 4 win more of a more indicative of who this team is, guys? What do you think?
I think it was really necessary for mostly the defense to find themselves right back again.
Mm,
Because honestly, we saw them who they are actually in the first two games. So I'm actually happy that the Cardinals game happened because that was a wake up call to, yeah, hey, don't get comfortable because they need to be focused. So I feel like they found their way back again on this week, last week's game against the Pats, and that will bring a little bit more confidence. So it was a must-win game. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's my thought about it, to be honest.
sure. And Brendan?
I don't know what. Yeah.
It's I've been talking about this like on Twitter and stuff. It's like I believe this team is better than where of course than what they showed against Arizona, but they feel like I feel like they do this every year.
Hmm.
They lose. You think, oh, this seems gonna be easy. You just like you're about to sit back, whatever, and then they get pounded like they did.
Yeah,
So, but they responded the way they needed to. But it's an awful New England team. So to be honest, I love that Cowboys Twitter doesn't really care about New England. They're like, whatever, San Fran.
yeah.
But after that, these next 4 weeks will be really telling what this team actually is.
For sure. Hey, I gotta shout out the chat. Troy is in the chat. What's up, man? Drop your questions below. We're gonna try to get to them during the show and a little bit after as well. So, with that being said, do you guys kind of feel like the red zone problems are still there? Do we need to clean that stuff up? Is it kind of, we built that lead again. You don't have to score every single time because I mean, the Niners week, you mentioned it. We're gonna have to score touchdowns against that team. You can't win if you're just kicking field goals. So is the red zone stuff still a problem to you guys, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the topic of the weeks, I
Yeah,
must say. And if I'm completely honest, well, be completely realistic. Yeah, we need to fix that. I'm not 100% like safe until I see it happening like week in and week out. But I saw some sparks. Like for example, the first play actually was a drop from Schoonmaker, if I'm not mistaken. Like the,
yeah,
the ball was perfectly placed, and that was our shot. The other play that we didn't get was Pollard, which crashed like literally against Dak, and Dak was in the middle of the actual path for Pollard to reach the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So those are little details that I am not too concerned that the Cowboys are not going to actually fix. They will fix it, but it's just a matter of how consistent they can have that, because the problem that we're having actually every single year sometimes is the consistency. We get too comfortable and then we feel like, oh, we are on the top of the world, and then we crash, and then so it and so on.
Yeah.
So I was actually even checking the metrics and how much like the score of the 2022 season, and we were just like 30, 34, 40, and then crashing. Like how? Why at the fourth game we always have a crash?
Mm.
So this season happened on the third game. So that's like, eh, maybe on the fourth we get up and we have the up running, but we just need to find the pace of consistency, making sure that the plays that we're doing are really smart and actually gonna work for the team that we're playing against.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. I don't know. We will have to figure it out. I don't know what Brendan thinks, but yeah.
So Chad is bringing up, and this is by Mark Leon. When you look at the Schoonmaker drop, Dak had another option in Cooks on that play. That tells me the recipe is there, but cooking is off. If that makes any sense, definitely get what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Mark. With that, it's one of those things like, yes, you can look for Cooks, but at the end of the day, Schoonmaker's got to catch that ball. I mean, tight end drops have been a problem for this team all 4 weeks, and it's got to get cleaned up because it's leaving plays out on the field. Because from what I see between the 20s, the Cowboys are really moving the ball. They're looking very effective on offense, efficient on offense. But whenever we get in there, that self doubt creeps in the back of those players' minds, and it's like, oh, can we score a touchdown here? Like, it just needs to get figured out. So whether that's looking for Cooks down there a little bit more. One thing I did notice for me is the tempo when we're in between the 20s seems a lot higher and faster pace. But when we get in the red zone, it's not. It's a lot more slowed down, taking the clock all the way down to the to zeros basically, and then snapping the ball. So I want to see a little bit more pace in offense, and overall, you just got to punch it in. Brendan, what was your opinions on that?
Yeah. For the first 3 weeks, I thought it was more scheme than anything. Like you'll see like that ugly interception Dak had at the end of the Cardinals game, and you're like, what the hell was that? You had an in route from Brandon Cooks, your second smallest receiver, going over the middle for Dak to have it. Like, okay, well, why is he doing that? You'll see Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb run into each other on an in and out route. So but this week it was way more about execution. Like, no, Ariana brought it up perfectly. Dak running into Pollard, the blocking was awful because Udoka just shoots inside and not letting the outside backer shoot in. It didn't work besides that one Hunter Lipke touchdown, and because they're not going to count the CeeDee Lamb one because it's from like the 19 in instead of the 20.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, that you brought up Idoga now. Actually, I love to see the fixes. I saw some improvement from Idoga because I was having almost like a heart attack watching the Cardinals game with Idoga, which besides the penalties, I was almost freaking out. But he actually did a great job in a few plays, trying to contend Judon before he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me was like, wow, okay, like Judon is not easy to grab, first of all. And also Tyler Smith stepped up. That was amazing. Like
Yeah.
I was trying to watch a few takes here and there from him, and honestly, I was like, okay, they're finding their rhythm. And even though the Pats doesn't have, like this big of a defense, such as I don't know, the Buccaneers, like with Vita Vea or I don't know, whatever. It looked good. We had Zach Martin, great, but I mean, they need to get the reps. The new guys needs to get the reps done. They need to face these people, and the 49ers are going to be like that type of team is going to be like, okay,
Yeah,
like
that's the test. I said that
yeah.
I tweeted this out. I said that the week 5 is not the goal. The goal of your season isn't to beat the 49ers in week 5. It's a test. So you have in school you have many tests, but ultimately your goal is to get that A on your report card. The A on the report card for the Cowboys is reaching that Super Bowl, getting that 6th Lombardi trophy. So At the end of the day, this is a big test, but ultimately, nobody's going to remember this game past the Super Bowl. So, you just got to be prepared, play loose, play free, but also play with that remembrance of this team bouncing you twice before in the playoffs. Chat brought up a good thing here, Falcon. I'm also curious if they aren't showing too much in regards to wanting it in a tougher game, if that makes sense. I think he's kind of alluding to the red zone struggles, not trying to show too much on tape. It's weird because I do believe in that. I think that Kellen Moore in the past has kind of been all about, hey, let me just get as many yards, as many touchdowns as I possibly can. And by the time that the good teams were watching and film studying, and they actually have the players to stop what you do, they were ready for it. And because you didn't have anything new that you could pull out of your hat. So I do think that's a part of it. I just wonder how much of a part it is. And I really just think personally, overall, just the miscues in the red zone, the drop passes, the TP running into Dak, all those things. Adoga not picking up a blocker, just letting a free pass rusher hit Dak down there. I think all of those things play a part, and they just got to clean up the little things because this is a very efficient offense. 20 between 20. We just got to see that red zone stuff.
You know that I believe that too, though, because I was thinking about that, especially now that it got noticed that the Cowboys watched film
Yeah.
regarding the paths, especially with the special teams. They were blocking more to the right, therefore they did the play to score the 2 points and whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like we're playing really safe right now in terms of what the plays could be. Yeah, but still we can see the miscues and things that Brendan was talking about too. So why we cannot because they're doing the same. They're doing the same plays with I don't know how the planes it's called, but whatever. It's like Gallup running alone to the corner route, and that's the same one with CD. Like, when are we gonna do something different? Yes, Dak can actually run to the end zone with
Yeah.
the slang and whatever, like always do, but we cannot do always the same. So
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think that
they're saving that.
I think what you're alluding to is
Maybe.
just complementary route concepts. So if you have a crossing route over on this side, you bring the flat behind it to open up that space for the running back to run free and get the yards after the catch, stuff like that. I do see what you're saying. And I honestly think that is a big part of it. Is we're trying to save some stuff for later on in the season. Overall, man, it's weird because you look at Dak's passing charts over the middle of the field. Really, he hasn't attacked that part. So I'm wondering if that's some indicative of something. If they feel like his interception problems in the past is shying them away from attacking the middle of the field. And then in training camp, we saw the vertical aspect a lot with Brandon Cooks and stuff. We haven't seen any of that. Minus one big catch for
Anything.
CD down the sideline. We haven't really seen that. So, did you have anything on those things, Brendan?
I feel like I talked about this earlier about how Mike McCarthy is like playing too scared. You can play your vanilla, do your vanilla plays when you're up by 18, you're up by 21. Like you can do it and feel safe, but you still have those. It's not like they're not practicing them at all, and they're just saving them for St. Fran. Like Dak knows the plays, every wide receiver knows the plays. So if you're doing like the Cardinals and you're losing, you were down by 12, and you're like, well, we can't just do these normal zone plays anymore, or these random stop and slants. Open up the playbook. They haven't. Hopefully, they are just somehow hiding everything. And I better see like 15 deep balls by Dak on Sunday if that's what they're hiding everything from.
Yeah.
But
Well, that was a question I had, which is basically how important is the vertical aspect of the offense, and does this team need to push the field more against the 49ers? And I think that the answer is yes. I think that their weakest links on the Niners defense is their secondary. Whether that's their corners, obviously have a very good safety in Hufanga, but their corners are attackable. You can attack them, guys. You can get yards after the catch. And that starts with making their safeties have to sink back further into the deep part of the field so that it opens up the underneath stuff.
The underneath, yeah. Actually, I saw this online. It got my attention that we're being too predictable. We're running the ball in the first
Yeah.
and second down, and then we're throwing to the side, short pass to a tight end. Ferguson was doing a good job actually last game. Shout out to Ferguson. But I don't know. But literally, we're just doing short. So I hope we do something far, a really long play. I want to see yes, I want to see Brandon Cooks, but I really want to see CD. Like I'm tired of not seeing CD enough
Mhm.
like I'm used to. Like I'm missing, that's the only thing I'm missing from Kellen Moore,
Yeah.
to be completely honest with you.
I think
Just seeing CD Lamb rocking the stage because it brings attitude, the energy that now we need more. The Trevon is not here. So it's like we need that guy who's gonna be like, oh, because Cardinals game was about energy. They looked beat up in the first quarter. I'm like, what is happening?
yeah.
Like I need some energy. So we're being too predictable, and we need to bring that team back a little bit
I think
more,
that they fixed that a little bit
open
in
the
the
field.
Pats game. I do want to give the chat a little bit of shout out. So, Mark said this. I also believe Mike McCarthy kept a few things tight to the vest when it gets to a big lead or has his defense dominating. He likes to make the next team, the Niners, wonder what kind of offense is coming. That's a good point by Mark D, who was supposed to be on the show tonight. Shout out Mark D. Ultra Cowboy says Tyler Smith is our best offensive lineman now. And I mean, the last 2 weeks, how he's been playing. I mean, it's very hard to say anybody's better than Zach Martin, but the way he's been playing, man, we might have two All-Pro guards in Zach Martin and Tyler Smith. So definitely shouts out to Ultra for saying that. Um, Let's see. Pulse of the Star, he had a question earlier, which is Zach. Shout out Zach. If you're not following Zach, go ahead and follow him on Twitter. Great follow. Lipke has 3 touches on the season, 2 first downs, and a touchdown to show for it. Utilizing his pairing of vision and size primarily inside the 5 needs to be prioritized. Completely agree with that. I mean, that's an
Yes.
exceptional point by Zach, and you know, basically on brand for him. So Lipke, I think that as far as receiving game, he hasn't even been tapped into with that. The running game inside the 5, just his size and his vision, as Zach mentioned earlier. Just he has a good combination of those things. I honestly think that we've used Deuce a little bit too much, and we need to walk that back a little bit and let Lipke get some of those touches, and we'll see if that happens this week with Malik or with Rico Dowdle going down. Did you guys have any comments on those things? I'll start with Brandon real quick.
They don't know how to use Deuce Vaughn, honestly. The preseason they use Deuce phenomenally. You get him open in space, but we're running him up the middle. He's 5'5",
Yeah.
maybe $170, or maybe 80. I may not be giving him enough credit for his size, but he's small. Like,
Yeah.
why are you acting like he's gonna run downhill and someone juke everybody? Like, no, get him outside. They're even failing screens because Adoka can't block. I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, send him to China. I don't know if they have a team or anything, but it's that man
Oh,
needs to
goodness.
go. But other than that,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll give it
Awesome.
a shot to Adogo, but Deuce, we're not using Deuce as what we need him to do.
Yeah.
Like
So Deuce.
Luke is a great pass protector. Why are you putting Deuce to? That doesn't make any sense. And I love Deuce. Don't get me wrong. I love Deuce. I love how he breaks some ankles in the preseason, and that's why I'm actually expecting like do some place where he can run off and just get off, but not like do not act like is Siki blocking. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
because he cannot do it.
Deuce.
It's because it's not gonna work.
Yeah, inside the tackles, Deuce it needs to be used very, very sparingly. Kind of like a thing that, oh, you have to respect this sometimes, but most of the time you need outside zone scheme blocking for Deuce to spring free, or you need to pass him a screen pass with blockers out in front and allow him to do what he does best, which is make the first person miss and then get the extra yards. So Deuce, he hasn't really been used how I personally think he should, and I guess that's just the end of the discussion because we're all on the same page with that. I do have to bring up, so having a fully healthy offensive line will open up the vertical options, in my opinion. Dak having the time to let plays develop, allowing Cooks to get downfield, and hopefully become more open as the season progresses, is what Zach says on the chat. And completely agree once again. The O-line, not only just integrity of those guys and their pedigree up front and how they block the pass rushers and the defensive tackles trying to come and get Dak, but just the chemistry. I mean, you talk about
Yeah.
guys that haven't, as far as the Cardinals game, guys that haven't really played together. That's three offensive linemen out. You're talking about two All-Pro future Hall of Famers, and then a center that took a lot more responsibility in the offseason, who calls out the protections for Dak now. So that was a huge aspect of that game. I completely agree with what Zach was saying there, and I think that having that line integrity up front is going to spring a Cooks, a Tolbert, those guys more deep down the field.
Ober hasn't dropped any pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can guys correct me if I'm wrong, but he has been showing up, and I'm so happy for him. But we need to see those vertical plays to happen seriously. Like, but I cannot agree more with Zach. I think we
Gotta give
need
him a
that.
follow, man. He's a great
Uh,
follow.
I will surely follow him. I will have to literally just check my Twitter after this.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
opening anything right now.
I do gotta shout out my dude, Boots on the Ground, Eric, in the chat. He says, all I gotta say is go Cowboys, and let's get to spanking those Niners this Sunday. Completely agree with that. Falcon brings up, people who want to deuce in the red zone were so confusing to me. Get him in the open space and let him cook in the red zone. Use Lipke, which I completely agree with as well. Excuse me. This is a question that I had, just trying to come up with some stuff for the show. But is Dak Prescott having a chip on his shoulder? He's got chippy with the media after these last few pressers with the interception questions, with the Niners questions and stuff like that. Is that good for this offense, especially against the Niners, knowing how bad he has played in the 2 games prior? Or do you kind of feel like, oh man, we're gonna get gunslinger Dak, he's gonna throw interceptions? Like, how are you guys feeling about that?
I don't know if you
McCarthy's
want to go first, Brendan. Yeah.
McCarthy's scheme won't allow that.
Mm.
We could want gunslinger Dak all we want, and like, oh, I wanted him throwing for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and us feeling great. It's not how that works. Aaron Rodgers, I think Connor Liversay, I'm sorry, I'm completely butchering him on Twitter, but
Yeah.
I think he was either 24th. Aaron Rodgers was either 24th or 26th in pass yards per attempt with McCarthy coordinator.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see them allowing that to happen. I would love to see Dak ball out, throw the vertical. But that's also why they're not throwing the ball that deep, because McCarthy's going ultra conservative. So that's not really how that's working.
Yeah, and also in terms of like any mistakes that can happen in on that, or what the media will say, Dak is the most resilient quarterback. He's playing for the best football team in the entire world. He knows what he's doing at the end of the day. I don't think the interceptions is like a topic that he's actually even thinking of right now. And honestly, he has been doing amazing, and all of a sudden the media has forgotten to talk about interceptions now. So no, we just need to win football games, whatever how that goes, even if it is ugly or not. And like Brendan says, we're not gonna see a super crazy type of game, and I honestly don't care. I just want to see like 1 or 2, but I just want to see this football team to win. We need
Well,
that.
here's a crazy
And
stat, guys. Only 11 games in the first month where a defense has held an opponent under 300 yards, under 20 points, and then took the ball away 3 times. Of those 11 games that happened, 6 defenses did that. And Dallas has 3 of those games. Obviously, those are their 3 wins. So if your defense is playing like that, you don't need Dak to be throwing it all over the yard and getting those super crazy stats. And even with that being said, he's still keeping pace with the rest of the NFC East as far as quarterback measurements go and stuff like that. I'll read these off real quick. Howell has a 67% completion rating, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 91 QB rating. Hurts at 67%, 5 touchdowns, 3 ints, 92% rating. Jones 68%, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 69% QB rating. And then Dak with a 71% completion rating, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a 96.1 QB rating. So he's holding pace with all of those guys, still being kind of conservative in that Mike McCarthy offense, not being asked to do too much, and really ignoring the middle part of the field the first 3 weeks. I haven't looked at the Patriots game as far as what he was doing in that game, but you talk about saving stuff. You talk about this team hitting a mid-season form and just continuing to get better. That's what this looks like to me. I think that the offense is just on the cusp of being very, very good. You get the red zone stuff figured out, and then you allow Dak to be the guy that he's done, which is a field general. Allow him to point stuff out pre-snap, get his guys in the best possible situation to succeed. I think that realistically, a top 5 offense, top 5 defense is completely in the realm of possibilities.
You know, that's something that happened a lot in the past season with Kellen Moore's scheme. That it didn't allow the defense to breathe. We were getting rid of the ball quick, and we weren't thinking about situational football. So with McCarthy, what I do like, even though that perhaps we're protecting the ball, where we're also being very smart with the clock too, and the defense gets the time to breathe. They need to breathe because the defense is like scoring for us too. So like they're as a whole, they're the best team. So the fact that we're actually running the ball, we just have to not be so predictable. That's what we need to do. But having a vanilla scheme, I like with the type of defense that we have. They will have time to breathe, take the breath, rethink, fix, and also with I was checking real quick before getting us together, the last divisional game against the Niners, and I noticed that we pressured a lot to Purdy. Like he was running all the time, but the defense didn't have much time to breathe that much. So now that we're having a bit more time, be more wise with the clock, maybe we will have a very good game.
Keep them
I'm
fresh.
talking maybe a 10-point difference game.
I was
Hopefully.
looking at
I don't know.
Brock Purdy against the blitz. He's a lot worse again. I mean, still good as far as QB stats go against the blitz, but worse than when you don't blitz him. So I'm wondering if DQ has that philosophy shift. He usually only rushes 4 and just uses stunts to spring his guys free. If he has that philosophy shift to actually blitz, and I'm not talking about blitzing with LVE, because stop blitzing LVE. I'm talking blitzing with a legit actual player, whether it's a Dante Fowler, bringing him out there and playing some linebacker role and just using him in that way, or Damone Clark or somebody else on the blitz, or even a safety. Donovan Wilson's very, very good at blitzing. So any of those guys, if you're utilizing a blitz, do you kind of attack the 49ers and especially Brock Purdy in that way? Or does that allow some of their guys to get free for the yards after contact, yards after catch, which, if you guys don't know, Christian McCaffrey is leading the league in yards after contact. Deebo Samuel, as far as wide receivers go, he's top 10 in that category. George Kittle's top 10 in that category. So they have some guys that if you do not tackle good, they are going to kill you. Do you guys feel the same about that?
Literally.
How do you feel?
You got to be aggressive. This team's going to push the field. It doesn't matter how well you play. They're still going to go down the field because they have by far, honestly, the most well-rounded offense in the league. They can throw the ball with Will, with Kittle, Ayuk. When the Debo, they can run the ball with Debo, McCaffrey. They have Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah,
they still have a good offensive line, decent offensive line when it comes to run blocking. But their team is so you're gonna have to be physical with them.
Yeah. Ariana?
One thing that can work with the pressure is exactly like the interception that happened the last game against the Pats, that Tyrone move ahead after it worked once, then they did the exact same play, the exact same pressure on the left, then Mac Jones throws to the left side, and then Bland picks it up.
Yep.
That's exactly what we need to do, but on a more rough scale with the energy that Witherspoon had against the Seahawks on Monday.
Against the Giants.
If we can do that, then I don't think there's gonna be an actual way to stop them. So like a lot, they're gonna definitely gonna score. I'm not expecting a low scoring game like we did on Sunday, but it will be really really fun to stay prepared, like seeing what they're offering and move ahead and block them. Like we cannot have those type of game with them, which I hated. The Cardinals, like we had the pressure, but Dubs could move, and then the receivers always found open space right in the middle.
Soft spot
We
in the
cannot
zone.
have that. Yeah, we cannot have that with the Niners at all.
Yeah.
So our cornerbacks will have to be like 110% ready
Mm.
in order to beat that 110 and linebacker, every single one of them, but especially the cornerbacks, because Purdy won't be able to run that far with our guys in front
In
of him.
pursuit.
There's no way.
Let me
I
read some
don't think so.
chats here real quick. So Troy Park says Sunday will be a fight, but I see us winning in a close game. Falcon, the 49ers game will come down to legit what defense makes a play first and last. Both are good enough to make a play here and there, but it's who gets the last one to me. Ultra Cowboys says Cowboys need to get over the mental hurdle of the 49ers. Cowboys are dominating the time of possession, and you got to blitz Dono. Mark D says Jordan Lewis has 8 sacks in his career, all off of the blitz. So get a little fire zone blitz, use Dono or J. Lou. Excuse me. I like everything that the chat's saying right there. I think that, first of all, I like the prediction and the optimism from the chat. Usually that's not so optimistic from Cowboys fans, knowing that we're going to be playing a team that's had our number in the past. So like the optimism. Ultra Cowboy also just says attack the 49ers corners, which is what I said earlier. Yeah. But yeah, just talking about that, the blitz and stuff like that. If we decide to do that, man, it's going to be interesting because we saw the blitz not work so well in that Giants 49ers game, because you know that the DC for the Giants loves to blitz. But I think that we have better players, and I feel like we have a much better secondary with our safeties and our corners that can hold up on the back end if you do decide to blitz. My worry is the linebackers. As far as I saw a metric today that said that our front four is very, very good in run defense. But it's when they get to the second level, the running back gets to the second level, which has to do with the linebackers. They're like 30th in the league. So our linebackers have not been very good. LVE, Damone Clark, those are the only 2 guys on the roster, except for the guy we just signed, that are true linebackers. So my biggest worry is if we can't slow down Christian McCaffrey. He's my pinpoint player. You have to take this guy away. Is that the same for you guys, or do you have a different player?
Mine's mainly McCaffrey, but I feel the only, like I said, with it, how well rounded this team is, McCaffrey is the lead horse on this team. He's going to decide a lot of things.
Yeah.
But if you stop him, like they'll have Debo that can run the ball. I'm kind of scared of George Kittle, because I feel like if Curse gets tired or whatever, he comes off the field, who in the world is going to cover him? I think I'm getting tired of Malik Hooker getting lost in coverage. Sometimes he'll follow the zone and just get absolutely annihilated over the top. That's what happened against that deep ball against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
He just passed them off. So did Jordan Lewis, but I don't even want to talk about that.
For me, I guess my whole thing about taking Christian McCaffrey away is because you take out Brock Purdy's outlet pass. The little dump offs to Christian McCaffrey, he can turn a little 2-yard pass, air yards wise, into a 14, 15-yard gain just because of his dynamic ability, and his vision is off the charts as far as a running back goes as a ball carrier. So factoring those 2 things, if you take him away and you force Brock Purdy to try to throw into some tight window throws with the corners that we have in Gilmore and Bland on the outside, it could be a recipe for disaster. Some pop-ups, our safeties could get some interceptions. Who knows? Obviously, Brock Purdy has been very, very good at protecting the ball, but he hasn't seen a defense this good. And so that's my main thing. You got to take away their best player and their outlet player for Brock Purdy and make him beat you like a professional quarterback would, like a Tom Brady, like a Peyton Manning, with the mental side of the game. Ariana?
Yeah, on my side, my concern will be the Kittle. and McCaffrey, but it's obviously McCaffrey he's a beast.
Yeah.
And I actually love how he plays. So, but Kittle is going to be a problem, especially because we have good guys down the field. So, and if we're pressuring a lot, Purdy won't have enough time to actually throw a deep ball. So he's going to rely a lot to short type of game until he finds his balance and whatever. How we're going to stop that, as you mentioned, we're having a linebacker problem. So unless you move Micah to not be a defensive end on certain plays, and then put it in the back, and then move Van Der Esch perhaps on the side, maybe something can happen. But regardless, like you said something really, really important is about our secondary. So our secondary will be, I think it's better than their secondary, but still, I feel like we're gonna the way I envision the game is like we're gonna get really hurt. We're gonna see McCaffrey doing crazy stuff, and then we'll figure it out. But I don't feel like this is gonna be an easy game at all at the beginning, stopping him or Kittle.
I think that their corners are definitely attackable. One thing I think that we've seen Dak. He loves to go to the tight ends. They have one of the best covered linebackers in the league in Fred Warner. That dude is, I mean, as far as my money goes, he's the best linebacker in the league. He's good in the run game, very, very good in the coverage game. So if you want to attack him or attack the 49ers, you really have to utilize your wide receivers this game. And that's something that the Cowboys only have one touchdown to a wide receiver this year. Dak has really been force feeding Jake Ferguson, these tight ends. So just looking at that matchup, it's like, they have a secondary that's attackable, but if Dak's tendency is to go to the tight end, can that get him in trouble? It's got him in trouble in the past in the last two games that we faced these guys. And we know that they're one of the most stacked teams in the entire NFL. I mean, if you told me, take away the Cowboys, take out your biases, and tell me who the best team in the NFL top to bottom is, I would say the 49ers. And not only are they the best as far as roster goes, but they also have the coaches. Shanahan knows how to scheme up his guys, knows how to find the weak spots in your defense and in your zones, and get them in the best possible situation for them to succeed. So this is the biggest test that we're going to face. As far as, man, a prediction for this, I'm having a hard time to actually come up with a score prediction, but I do want to jump right back here to the chat really quick. The Smitty says, yeah, Shanahan's going to take advantage of y'all's stiff-ass linebackers. So I guess that he's a Niners fan here. Ultra Cowboy says, last game the linebackers played well. Wanye needs to cover Kittle. So that's interesting. We'll keep a note of that real quick. Love J-Ron Curse, but he's been very suspect as of late, and I completely agree. In his coverage of the Titans, which used to be one of his specialties. So I think he's talking about like big muscle, like Titan type players. Pulse of the Star. So Zach says Damone Clark, LVE had bounce back games against the Pats. Completely agree, including Damone, who now leads the team in tackles. Make sure that you stay patient with CMC is the key defensively. Completely agree. Your concern should be the whole 49ers roster, says the Smitty. Trey over Dak. That's completely ludicrous. 37-20 for the Niners. Man, if the Niners score 37 points on our defense, we have some serious problems. We got to go back to the drawing board and figure some things out. Then we got, I predict that Fergie will have 8 catches, 6 of which will be on Warner, and we will all understand he has arrived. I like the bold prediction by Mark right there. Cowboys are better than the 49ers, says Ultra Cowboys. So a little chat rivalry right here between the Smitty and Ultra Cowboys. So ultimately, yeah, this is the big test, man. I said it earlier. This doesn't really dictate whether or not you're going to go to the NFC Championship game or not at the end of the season. I think that if you get the second seed, you could honestly have an easier path to the Super Bowl than the first seed, considering that likely whoever loses, whoever doesn't win the division between the Eagles and the Cowboys is the 5th seed. That seed is going to have to face the number 1 seed likely in the playoffs anyways. So with that being said, though, overall, how are your feelings leading up to this game? Do you guys have a prediction for the game? Any bold predictions? Just lay them on me here.
Oh,
Well,
that's
so
tough.
far, oh yeah, it's tough. I'm gonna have two type of predictions. This is the one without me seeing tape because I actually like to see previous games in entirety. Just to have fun. FYI, and on week 4, I betted on the entire games, and I just lost the Browns one because obviously
Watson didn't play.
Deshaun Watson didn't play.
Yep.
So imagine if I would bet money, I would be already rich with last week. But anyway, so I like to watch tape. So my prediction without watching tape, I feel confident that the Cowboys can win. However, it will be painful to watch. Painful to watch because things bad things are gonna happen to they're gonna screw it up like it's gonna be painful, but I think we're gonna be able to bounce back.
Yeah.
Because our defense is gonna do that for us. I'm right now expecting a difference of 10 points. Really tight game at the end of the day. I don't think it's gonna go above 30 points for either team.
Mm.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now without watching tape. Most likely, when as soon as I finish it, watching the videos, I'll be like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be awful." But I don't know. We'll see.
Brendan.
Um, more and more I think about it, this is gonna be an ugly game. My heart's gonna be racing the entire time. I'm going to hate life because I'm not gonna feel calm. The best and worst part is I'm going out with a good friend who's a 49ers fan, so we're gonna go out and watch the game together. So it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. I
Mm.
feel first off, whoever said that Jake Ferguson take, I'm with you. I'm the conductor of the Jake Ferguson hype train. So I easily will let you onto the train. Good job, sir. But I think the score will be 27-24 Dallas. It'll be tied 24-24 going into like the last minute with a Brandon Aubrey game-winning field
Killing
goal.
it.
Ooh, the Aubrey.
Killing it like he's doing it. I'm
There
so
you go,
happy
man.
for him.
So
Dear Lord.
let's read off some of the chat's predictions here. So we obviously got the 37-20 from the Niners fans. We got Ultra Cowboys saying 27-17 Cowboys. We got Mark D saying Micah will have the first triple sack game of his career. Cowboys win 35-21. I like that one. Shanahan is the reason DQ does not have a Super Bowl ring as a head coach, says Ultra Cowboy. And that's about it for the predictions. Man, for me, it's so hard to pick between these two teams. They're so good. And honestly, I think that one of these two teams, from what I've seen for the first 4 weeks of the season, I think one of these two teams is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Whichever one it may be, who knows? But ultimately, man, I think that the Cowboys are going to get up for this game. I think that they're going to have those memories in the past, and you can think about any hard time in your life. You think about it being, you're scared, or you let your emotions take the best out of you. The next time that you do it, it's a little bit easier. And you take that fall and you fail again, and the next time you have no fear and you're just ready to completely conquer it. I think that's where the Cowboys are at right now. I think that they're ready to go in there and in San Fran and just completely demolish these guys in the trenches and the secondary. Dak's going to have a good game. I think that it's not going to be a blowout because these are two very, very good teams, but I just think that the Cowboys are ready to get over the hump and beat a team. This team's 4-0 in the 49ers. They're due for a loss, and I think the Cowboys are going to get up for it and really shock everybody on Sunday Night Football. I'm going to go with a score of 24-23. Close nail biter kind of performance,
One
man.
point type of game.
1 pointer. So hey, man.
We need to go back to this video after the game is over on Sunday night. Hopefully, it will be a good one.
Oh yeah. And if I'm
To see
wrong,
how the predictions
if
went.
I'm wrong, I'm just gonna delete it. But I'm just kidding. I did want to bring up this though, is just the Cowboys QBs that they faced. So we got Daniel Jones week 1. He had the 53.6% completion percentage.
Oh
He had 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Then we go to Wilson, 44% completion percentage, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Josh Dobbs, 81%, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Then Mac Jones last week, 57% completion percentage, 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Then you look at the 49ers and the quarterbacks that they have faced. They've held these quarterbacks, and 2 of them are the same as the Cowboys have faced. But they got Pickett in the first week, 65% completion percentage, 114 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Stafford, 61.8%, 307 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Daniel Jones, 68.8% completion percentage, 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then Josh Dobbs, 68%, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So if you add all of those things up, the Cowboys defense has actually played better than the Niners defense. Now, is that me saying that the Niners defense isn't as good as the Cowboys, or the Cowboys are absolutely better than the Niners? Absolutely not. I'm just trying to say that with the quarterbacks that they faced, neither of these teams have really been tested with a great quarterback. Obviously, Stafford was there at one point, and he had a really good game that game. Kind of a nail biter towards the end. And then some interceptions to kind of separate the Rams from the Niners. But overall, man, these 2 teams are very good at limiting the quarterbacks. And I think that Brock Purdy, he gets his, whether you think that he's good or not, he gets his yards and he gets touchdowns. So I'm in the side of things where he's a good quarterback, and we have to take him as a film study and preparation as a good quarterback. And by that, you have to limit what he does best. And then Dak Prescott, he's a good quarterback. Yes, he's had problems in the past with the 49ers, but I'm expecting a very, very good game offensively and defensively from these 2 teams. What was your guys' thoughts or opinions on those numbers, if that's the first time you guys heard them?
Well, I'm surprised that with Kenny Pickett, I was hoping that the Steelers will have a better season for some reason. I'm not surprised with Dobbs at all. I think a lot of people underestimate how good he can be, and he is.
Yeah.
The rest is kind of expected. Sadly, Daniel Jones, poor guy. I mean, he needs a better offensive line. I mean, that is not all on him. But what I can see is that this is, like you meant, I agree with the fact that both teams are gonna be handling, like, it's gonna be a test. Now that you said all those numbers, I'm concerned about the interceptions, that it happened on every single game except for Dobbs game. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think that the Cowboys are an opportunistic, can't even say it, defense, where if they're getting turnovers, they're very good, because usually turnovers lead to points, and then they can play with the lead, and then that allows their pass rushers to get loose and really attack the quarterback, which forces more turnovers and allows you to get more of a lead and continuing on. So if it's a grinded out type game and the 49ers win the turnover battle, I think whichever team wins the turnover battle is going to win the game. But if you're not forcing turnovers on the 49ers, you're gonna have a hard time stopping this offense.
Yeah.
So, Brendan,
I finally saw something that I've been wanting to see for the past 3 weeks with what Dante Fowler did on a strip sack, on a sack as a tackle. Our defensive ends our QB contains are awful. We haven't faced a quarterback who's really mobile besides Daniel Jones, kinda.
Dobbs,
But
Wilson to an extent too. I mean, really, you think about it, honestly, other than Mac Jones, Brock Purdy might be the next least mobile quarterback that we're gonna face.
But yeah, but he'd still, like, I'm not saying he's fast at all, but like, he'll still break the pocket. They'll run like one option.
He breaks the pocket well, though. Yeah.
And our defensive ends,
does.
for the most part, haven't played that at all. The QB contain is awful.
Yeah.
Even when we're winning by a lot, like the first drive against the Giants, we still won 40-0. Daniel Jones looked good on those read options and him just running automatically because no one could contain him. Zach Wilson, some of his only good plays was him running the ball. Dude, didn't Dobbs have like a 52-yard rush in the first half?
Yeah, that was like literally the third play or something like that.
Yeah, so like Dante finally chased after Mac Jones. Of course, Mac Jones isn't going to run because Mac Jones is not a good quarterback, but that's neither here nor there. But we finally actually had someone chase after him, and guess what happened? Stripped, because he actually wanted the ball instead of everybody just getting washed inside.
That's a good point. Going back to chat right here. Mark says Jim Fossil, so Bones Fossil, is the X factor. I do believe that we have a better special teams unit than the 49ers. So I agree with
I
that.
do.
Ultra Cowboy says Puka out of the slot cooked the 49ers secondary. So is that indicative of CD being utilized in the slot? And how much does that really benefit him? And how much does that really benefit Dak Prescott? Because usually the slot is working over the middle of the field. So we'll see. Tyler Smith staying at left guard are for teams like the 49ers and the Eagles, says Ultra Cowboy. Yeah, I used to be on the side of move Tyler Smith to left tackle in the future and do that, but this dude's playing at all pro level. He keeps playing like this. I mean, this is a Hall of Fame type of trajectory for him. So if that's the course
I
for him,
agree.
leave him at left tackle or leave him at left guard, sorry, and allow him to prosper. Mark says, fun fact, the Dallas Cowboys are 12-0 under Mike McCarthy when getting a defensive touchdown in a game. So that's a huge factor as well. So if we can force a defensive touchdown for the Cowboys, a Deron Bland pick six, something like that, a Micah interception, first of his career kind of a thing, to the house, that
Forced
would be awesome.
fumbles, pressure,
Something, man. So Ultra
something.
also says, I play Cooks in the slot in this game, use his speed, which I personally kind of like a little bit more because when you look at their corners, they're not the biggest, most physical guys, and I don't think that they shadow or mirror the wide receiver all that well. So I would use CD on the outside. I kind of
I don't
agree with Ultra
even
Cowboy right there.
remember who they have as the corners right now.
Tre'Davious
The Niners.
Ward and then Lenore.
Okay. I don't remember bro very well. But anyway.
Brendan, you have any comments about that stuff?
Do y'all think it's weird that every time we look for speed, it's more been Devontae Turpin than Brandon Cooks? Because like the people who Turpin's been honestly beating players over the top. It's just Dak doesn't throw it. That crazy play that Lamb had against the Jets, where he almost like broke his neck. It looked like Turpin destroyed the slot corner. I of course I know you were at the game, EJ, but I was there too. I was screaming to throw to Turpin. I'm like, it was the easiest touchdown I've ever seen in my life. But then you see CeeDee Lamb go up and almost break his neck.
Actually, I'm gonna say something about Turpin that most likely it will be like, what is she talking about? But I'm gonna say it anyway. I love Turpin so much, but I don't like that he doesn't protect the ball. I don't know how many balls he has dropped after running beautifully, and now that when he does that, even though I should be happy, I'm like, please don't drop the ball. And it happened again last game. It happened again the other game. It happened the so I need him to be Brandon Cooks. I know that he's at least not gonna drop it so bad when he gets tackled. I need Turpin to keep on doing what he's doing in terms of speed, and then put that ball inside of his shirt and not do anything else. Like he should run with the ball here like this and pray God that it doesn't fall, because I'm getting so nervous now. He needs to save the ball, period. Like Jesus Christ. That's why I feel like they're not doing a lot of plays with him, because he's dropping and he knows that he's so frustrated when he finishes, and he knows that he's dropping. Biadasz saved it. It was Biadasz.
That one was CD that did that, the fumble.
Yeah. It was Sean McEwen.
Okay.
Sean McEwen saved that fumble.
Saved the one last week. Yep.
Yeah. And last. Okay. Great.
But he did have one in the preseason. To your point, that he muffed or whatever. I do see your point, and I think that Turpin has to be more conscious about keeping the ball tight to his chest, especially running. I think that he has that thought that, I'm faster than anybody on the field, so once I get past somebody, I really don't have to wrap up the ball.
He gets excited. It's like, yay! And then, oh no!
So make a conscious effort to wrap the ball up until you're in the end zone for him. But I also think, as far as him and the similarities between him and Cooks, they both have sudden stop-start ability. They're both very crafty with footwork and the little minute things as a wide receiver to do that can kind of shade a corner this way when you're actually going the other way. Those things are very similar. Now, Where Turpin is not to Brandon Cooks' level is he doesn't understand how to absorb hits, and he doesn't have the vision that I believe Brandon Cooks has. Especially, you've seen that with the return game. Turpin is very, very fast. He's good in the return game, but his vision leaves some to be desired, in my opinion. But this would be a very, very good game if Turpin could house one, in my opinion. So
Well, he's very young, so I guess that the fact that he's surrounded by these type of vets right now, it's gonna give him a lot of like broad opportunity for him to perfect his craft, in my opinion. But
yeah.
yeah.
So Ultra Cowboy says due to his knee, they are saving Cooks for this game. Which he had the
Oh, true.
what was it, like a hyperextension or some type of
Yeah,
thing with his
he
knee.
didn't play the
Um,
second game, I think.
yeah,
And
so
yeah,
interesting point, and yeah, he probably is still kind of rehabbing and kind of getting into the motion of things with that injury. Completely agree. You know, hopefully we do see
good
more from
point.
Brandon Cooks because I think he can add like an extra element that we don't really have right now, which is the short to intermediate levels of the field. I think we have covered. With the long ball is where Brandon Cooks can really, really make his mark. And in past, before pre ACL injury with Gallup, that was kind of his niche, you know. But now you're looking at Brandon Cooks and you're asking him to, hey, let's fill this void that we need that long ball, that vertical aspect of the game to be back in our menu. Whether it's just a complete go or it's a sluggo, whatever it may be, those things allow a quarterback to better assess what's going to happen the next play. If the safety has to respect the possibility of Brandon Cooks going down the field, or a CD Lamb to that respects going down the field and catching one over the top, single high safety looks and stuff like that, it pushes those guys a little bit further into the field. And that opens up the underneath stuff, which is really what the West Coast offense is predicated on. So that aspect of the game really, really, really is missing, in my opinion. And once we get that going, it's just going to amplify all of the good that we have seen thus far. Do you kind of feel the same about that, Brendan?
Yeah, I was gonna say something real quick. Uh, that maybe we haven't done a lot of those plays because we don't have the full offensive line healthy as we want to in order to throw
Yeah.
those type of throws because you need a safe pocket, right? So maybe we'll see that type of energy once we have all of our guys healthy, or that they can prove they can actually hold the pocket very well, so that can actually throw an accurate ball. Otherwise, it will be jeopardizing the control of the game at the moment. So I don't know. I just had that thought while you were talking.
Yeah.
That's my
Brendan?
opinion. I don't know.
You're good. I think Michael Gallup's back. I think
Oh
Mm.
yes.
dude, he has shown so much physicality when he's playing now, and it's beautiful. I love his connection with Dak. I think, but the only problem is they've done one fade ball to him, and he got deep defensive pass interference that wasn't called. And they're like, you know what? Okay, we're good. We're
Mm.
done. We're not trying anymore.
Mm.
I'm like, why? Michael Gallup got up there, but he had a helmet in his chest.
Yeah.
I'm
It
nowhere
was
near
like
athletic.
this. You were pushing him like this. It was awful.
Yeah, it was just so dumb. I'm not gonna say like he's gonna get back to 1,000 yards. That's absurd for him to be his first healthy season back. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's plays more physical than anybody, and he doesn't. Well,
You know,
unlike CD Lamb, he doesn't give up.
Brendan, I will just piggyback off what you're saying. I was searching up before the show tonight, yards after contact for wide receivers. A couple spots under Debo Samuel was Michael Gallup, and I was very, very surprised. He does bring that physical aspect to this team, and he absorbs hits better than any wide receiver on this team. Obviously, you talk about CD's contact balance is off the charts, but just absorbing the hit and fighting for a little bit extra
Like
yards.
Amari Cooper
Michael
used to do.
Gallup, yeah, man, Michael Gallup is good, and got to shout out my guys from Cowboys Can Fan. They're also in the chat. They said MG is the fade guy. Use him on the fades. In my opinion, and I alluded to this last
Bro.
week, use him in the red zone. You talk
Bro.
about body control, marrying the upper half with the lower half, and getting those feet in
Footwork.
bounds. That's one of the elite traits of Michael Gallup, in my opinion. So you got to be able to utilize him down there in the red zone, and then the fades as well. And as far as the separation goes, I wasn't seeing it week 1 and 2. Michael Gallup has made a fool out of me these past 2 weeks. He's been very, very good, and I'm here for the resurgence of Michael Gallup, man. I'm excited about it. Now, if you add in the Cooks phase of this offense, you got 3 very capable receivers. Then you add in Tolbert as well, who's made some very good critical third down catches. Like Ariana mentioned earlier, 0 drops for him. You have 4 deep at wide receiver. Then you got another facet in the Turpin game as well, man. It's exciting. We just got to get that red zone stuff figured out, and ultimately continue to build and build and build and build until you have that team that you're ready to climb the mountains and weather the storm against some of these big heavyweight teams you're going to see in the playoffs. Going back to the chat real quick, McCarthy is a chameleon, not showing anything against bad teams. I kind of agree with that. I think that he realizes more from a head coach versus an offensive coordinator perspective. And I think you were talking about this earlier, Ariana, but he understands game flow, and he understands, time of possession. And, hey, we don't want to put our defense out here with 3 straight passes where they don't have an adequate breather on the sidelines and stuff like that. So I agree with that. I think
Situational football.
Exactly. Situational football. I agree with that. And I think that McCarthy has done a much better job of that versus Kellen Moore, who was, boy wonder, where he just wanted to put everything on tape and show, oh, man, look how creative I am, and look at all this stuff. But what that did was that whenever the
It wasn't balanced.
whenever the creativity got you in a bad spot because you wanted to do a double reverse and then you lost 13 yards, that's a wasted possession. And Mike McCarthy isn't doing that. So excited for that. Cowboys fan says RPO is going to be a thing for the Cowboys versus the Niners. Absolutely. I 100% said this last year. Dak Prescott RPO game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was excellent. You flip that against the Niners, non-existent. Wasn't even there. He didn't even think about running it. If you had that facet of the game against the Niners, man, I honestly, and then with Tony Pollard, if he was still in the game, I think that we would have beat the Niners, personally. That might be me being biased, but I do. Do you guys have any opinions
We can
on
be
that?
biased. This is a channel to be biased. So,
There you go.
Well, why the heck not? I mean, sure. Go ahead, Brendan.
We win the game and Michael Gallup's healthy against San Fran. When your second best receiver is Noah Brown, which I haven't heard of anything this season so far, which I'm so happy to hear.
Noah Brown's, bro, his name just sounds like a little kid that was homeschooled all of his life, man. Like, that doesn't strike fear in the opponents. You're talking about Sedarian Lamb, Michael Gallup towards the end zone. Yeah, I mean Brandon Cooks you on the sluggo. Like, those are the names, man, that you think like, oh yeah, man, they're gonna do something.
Oh my God, you're not gonna go there with the names. I saw that in the media the other day. Like Purdy is a bad name for a quarterback. That he's not gonna be a good quarterback, because a franchise quarterback, because Montana was better than Purdy. Like, what the heck has something to do with that? It was hilarious.
More or less, that's what I was trying to make fun of. But Brendan,
no, but
go ahead
wait,
with your point.
No, but wait,
sorry.
quick. Noah Brown, real quick, because this is controversial. Actually, Noah Brown did. I'm gonna be the person who's gonna say something positive, because why not? Noah Brown actually did really well when Cooper Rush was actually backing up Dak while his finger was messed up.
So, chemistry, second team.
I just want to say that he saved us a couple. I'm thankful for that, but that's it. He can have his life now. That's all I'm gonna say. But go ahead, Brendan. Sorry. So,
well,
we had Noah Brown.
Well, what you all don't know is that Noah Brown's biggest hobby is playing volleyball, and it showed against the Jaguars.
Oh goodness,
dude!
Oh my God,
Dak will throw some like bad balls like every now and then. You're like, dude, what the hell was that? But whenever you see the instant replay and you see it hit him in the hands, and you just see him turn away, the ball goes up. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna leave now. I don't want to be here. And then they were going to say, Dak threw it too hard. Excuse me, what? It was like third and 2 or fourth down. Dak's going to throw it right where it needs to be, because guess what? He wants to win the game. Now he's like, this little touch pass. The hell are you talking about?
Yeah. All right,
Oh,
guys.
talking
Well,
about that pass. Oh no, sorry. No, we have to go. Never mind. Never mind.
no, no,
We'll
no.
keep
You
that
go
part.
ahead. You go ahead. I was gonna
Oh
ask if
no,
you
no,
guys had any
no.
more questions or stuff you wanted to talk about. So,
No, I have one question, and this is my last. You know that Dak threw this pass for the touchdown, that it was like this, like a shovel pass, like Mahomes does and whatever.
I don't think it was for
Do
a
you remember
touchdown,
that
but
play?
or
Did it didn't? Oh, it was for a first down. Sorry.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, I think it was for
This
a
last
first
week is what
down.
you're talking about?
Uh, yeah, it was a first and goal. Yeah, against the
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Pats,
yeah. I remember
and
that.
Dak like shoveled. I don't know if that's the right word. I'm sorry. I'm thinking in Spanish right now.
No,
So
yep. You got the
anyway,
right term.
yes. So I never saw that before from Dak, and I liked it. Maybe, just maybe, I'm putting this out there to the universe. I would love to see that getting creative very safely on important games with that types of play. I just want to put that to the universe, and if it happens, I'm gonna go back to this video and I'm gonna say I told you so. Hopefully that will happen. I just want to say that. What do you guys think
Yep.
about that play? Because we are not used to see Dak doing that personally. Maybe I missed something. I don't
I, I'm I'm like it's weird because for me I never was like this, and maybe the media has kind of like made me like this, where I am like, oh my gosh, when's the next Dak interception like coming here soon?
know.
And it's not because I don't have faith in Dak. It's almost that I believe in him too much that I don't want a bad thing to happen. Like he's like my kid. Like I'm like, Dak, you gotta throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? And I get so excited about the possibility of him succeeding, but then the devil wants to creep in those thoughts in your head, like, oh my, what if he throws an interception? But it's coming. He led the league last year in only 12 games. So
Yeah.
for me, it's weird because like yes, it was good, but last year the doubts of when is this gonna happen, like I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if I like that. Versus like me hoping that he would run more, even though he's been injured 3 of the last 3 seasons. I'm still asking him to run more, and it's weird because like maybe it is the media, but I don't know. Brendan,
Interceptions always they don't scare me. They just kind of confuse me because like you can throw for 33 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, and that's a phenomenal season.
yeah,
But guess what? If Dak did that, guess what? He still has 7 more. You never know when it's gonna happen. It could just be a first drive, like, oh damn it, he missed it, or whatever. Or he's not the reason why we lost against the Cardinals. Nowhere near. The entire defense gave up in red zone,
yeah,
but that play ended the game. So like it might just turn into that. Like, well, the game's over.
yeah.
And for that shovel pass, I saw that play as more as, oh shit, and he just throws it to Ferguson. He's like, nah, dude. You see the offensive line just completely break. But
Yeah.
who knows? It might be a part of the scheme. I don't get what McCarthy's doing in the red zone, so I have
Okay,
no
we'll
idea
see.
anymore.
Yeah. Real
Okay,
quick,
we'll
guys,
see.
if you are in the chat and you have not left a like on the video, please do so. It just helps my content continue to get better and get pushed out to more people. Also, if you do have a question, leave it in here so we can answer it. And we're probably going to wrap it up here pretty soon. Do you guys have any more questions?
No, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good.
I feel pretty good. Yeah. I most likely will have more questions once I
Okay.
see the tape.
Did you guys leave your
For sure.
predictions? I can't remember if you said your score predictions.
Yeah, I did.
I forgot mine already, but like 10 points in the middle of the 20, so maybe like I don't know, maybe 27, 17 so far.
27-17.
But
Okay.
I will change my mind for sure, for sure. I
So
think somebody in the chat said 27-17 too, so I'm with that person,
I think
whoever
that
said
was
that. I
Ultra
remember.
Cowboy. Shout out Ultra Cowboy, man. I've been in a
Ultra
lot of
Cowboy,
chats with
man.
him in the past, and he's always a pleasure to be chatting up there in the chats. One thing I did want to get your guys' kind of thoughts on was give me one boldie and give me one player of the game before even watching the game. Who you think is going to be the player of the game, in case even win or loss doesn't matter, and then one bold prediction for each of you guys.
One bold prediction.
I think the player of the game's easy. I don't want to do this because I like doing like thinking more outside the box, like a lesser known name or whatever. but
You're gonna say Micah, right?
it has to be.
Yeah.
TJ, dude, TJ
The
Watt,
pressure.
they got destroyed, but TJ Watt murdered that right tackle. He couldn't do a thing, and TJ Watt had 3 sacks. Of course they lost, but Kenny Pickett played like trash and all that. It's got to be Micah. I want to be like, oh, Michael Gallup. Oh, it has to be.
Mm.
He's gonna murder. He's gonna forklift like he did McGlinchey.
For me, is like, how much does the change from Kellen Moore to Mike McCarthy's offensive scheme help Dak? Do we see a new iteration of Dak in this game? Could he be player of the game? I'm kind of leaning on Dak being player of the game because it's the new offense. I think that they're actually going to be scheming against the defense more so than the idea of like the Jason Garrett, like, yeah, we do what we do kind of a thought process and stuff like that. I think that they're going to be scheming against this defense, looking at what they do, their tendencies, and really trying to hone in on what beats those certain coverages that the 49ers like to get into. So I'm going to go with Dak. Ariana?
Okay, so I'm gonna step out of the box because obviously Micah is the easy pick of so it's fantastic.
I had to.
I'm gonna go with I know. I'm gonna go with DeMarcus Lawrence.
I like that one.
That's fun.
I'm gonna go with DeMarcus Lawrence. I love him. I think his energy and leadership is gonna show up, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And my bold prediction will be I'm gonna say something really crazy. My bold prediction is no, wait, that's too crazy. That's
No,
not
do
gonna
it.
happen.
Say it. No, you already.
Oh no,
it
doesn't make any sense. That the first touchdown is actually going to be from the special teams with a turn back of 100 yards from Turpin, something crazy like that.
Hey, I would love that.
Hasn't happened in a while, but I'm gonna go with that. I don't think it's gonna happen though, because the Niners have a great kicker. I don't think it's gonna have that much air, but we're talking about a stadium that is not
Enclosed.
doesn't have
Yep.
Thank you. Yes. So maybe the wind will help. And
So
it's gonna drop the ball fast.
Turpin
and
opening
is gonna do the
kickoff
first
return.
Yes.
Hey, I would love that. Brendan, do you have a boldie?
I do. If only Jake Ferguson didn't have his breakout game last week, I would have brought up the Jake Ferguson one because I just love talking. No, but I'm gonna go for it. The Michael Gallup fade is back, baby. He's gonna look like a ballerina jumping up there with his great toe tap, and it's back. That back shoulder fade, and everyone's gonna be screaming because Dak has his connection again.
Ooh, man, that makes my bones scream. For me, my boldie, I would have to say, is Dak. Night and day between the first two games versus this one. I'm going to say Dak throws for his first 300-yard game of the season on this Niners defense, goes for 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing, and I say the Cowboys get the win. So that's all I have to say for tonight. If you guys were in the chat, and shout out Zach, he says, go Cowboys, such an awesome conversation. Y'all have a great night. Bold prediction, CMC is limited to 50 yards or less on the ground. Boys contain him well in the playoffs despite loss. So that's awesome. Guys, I appreciate everybody stopping in here for the chat. As far as these two guys, or guy and girl, sorry, let them know where they can find you once more. On Twitter or whatever it may be. Ariana, you can go first.
Yeah, you can guys find me on Twitter at Adi_Napan, NAPAN, for Dallas content from September to February, and the rest of the year is girly content, so follow me.
Awesome. And Brendan?
You can find me at Brendan_Smith26 or at Across the Cowboys podcast, where we're live Monday and Friday.
Awesome, man. Hey, guys, it was such a pleasure to have you guys on, and we'll have to do it again. As far as the chat, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, share this video if you can, and make sure you guys are subscribed. I'm trying to get to that 500 subscriber mark, and with that being said, catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. For forget what you got. None of it matters until you don't work from the top. I'm talking non-stop, squad. They've been down with me for years, and none of them asking for squad. Squad, fire, out of the gutter, don't stutter, I'm taking my shots. Pop, block, out the noise, some others, my brothers and me, we going off. Bippity pop, talking that ish, I'ma empty my clip, my Google go pop. There goes another, I'm jumping for cover, then I'm taking off, we're not getting caught. Tired of violence, but you pushing buttons, and something that's ticking me off. Soft, say it again, gonna regret it, I'm